Hello, it is 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have the Ministry of Communication is the closures of training for the profit of the 100 young people of the community of Balbala. Concerning international scene, legislative elections in Afghanistan, several explosions in centers of vote in Kabul. Welcome to our newsrooms. An end of training ceremony for 100 young people from Balbala was this morning under the responsibility of the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Abdi Yusuf Suge. This 6 months training was concluded by a certificate and driving licenses, 100 new events of the municipalities of Balbala. The training that was part of the capacity buildings of young people and facilitate their integration into the professional environment. For the Ministry of Communication, organizers of this training, it is mainly to equip the young people out of their pocket. In addition to the Minister of Communication responsible for the communication, the ceremony presided by the President of Balbala municipalities, the constituency, Mr. Diri Hashi. The ceremony broadcasters, the recipients have expressed their entire satisfaction with the initiative of the Minister of Communication in their favor. The President of the Balbala municipalities in this intervention thanked the Minister of Communication for the implementation of this training for the benefit of 100 young boys. He said that the driving licenses they have just acquired should allow them to find a job and thus get rid of unemployment. The Communication Minister is in charge of telecommunication post, Mr. Abdi Yusuf Suge, said that these trainings of 6 months would bring hope for changes in the life of these young people. He has this is the initiative being told us that will continue for other young people and in other disciplines, he said. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Al-Mulki, received in audience the new ambassador for the Federal Republic of Germany, accredited to Djibouti, Ms. Anke Holstein. The meeting was attended by several senior officials from the Ministry of Health. The interview focused on the different aspects of the cooperation between the two countries. The conditions are also conducive to strengthen this cooperation in the health field. Discussion is therefore revolved around the broad lines of health policy as issued by the President of the Republic and implemented by the Ministry of Health. The new ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany praised the effort for the Djibouti government focused on the development of the health system, particularly through the extensions of universal health coverage and the improvement of the quality of health care provision. Djibouti, while thanking the Minister of Health for the warm welcome and remarkable hospitality she has received, Ms. Anke Holstein said is willing to contribute fully to the national health system development process. After the interview, the German diplomat visited the Orthopedic and Functional Rehabilitation Center at Mohammed Isa Sheikh Hospital in Balbala, and this should be added with the director of this hospital, Musa Ibrahim Suge. Under the chairmanship of the Honorable Abdurrahman Awale Yassin, the Foreign Affairs Committee met on Thursday, October 19, 2018, for the considerations of the following text. The examinations of the first text saw the participation of the Minister Delegate to the Minister of Economy and Finance responsible for Trade, Tourism and Formalization, Mr. Hassan Ahmed Ibrahim, accompanied by his close collaborator. The second ratification is received the favorable opinions of the commissions for its transmission, and adoption is in public session took place in the presence of the Minister of Economy and Finance responsible for Industry, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawale. The Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources in close collaboration with the Institute of the Francophonie, the Sustainable Development, in partnership with the EDNA Energy, closed a training seminar on economic policy of energy. The aims of the seminar was to equip participants with the knowledge needed to ensure the successful development of implementation of energy policy in their countries. This regional training is part of 2015-2018 program of the international organizations form of the Francophonie, entitled Integrating the Sustainable Development Goals into regional, national and local policy and strategy. This seminar, which lasted from 8 to 19 October, brought together participants from public administration directly responsible for the energy sector and concerned involved in its development, specialized public institutions and bodies such as regulatory authority, rural electrification, energy management agencies, environmental agency, energy companies, non-governmental organizations and consumer associations working in the energy sector. In addition to Djiboutian actors from the energy spheres, other participants from Benin, Cameroon, Togo, Senegal. This training is part of the series of several other trainings that have already taken place in Central Africa, West African, Indian Ocean and North Africa. It should be recalled that the objectives of this training, which are to equip the participants the tools they need for the successful development and implementation of the energy policy. The organization of the activities in the framework of the water, hygiene, sanitation project, community dialogue, training of community relays and distributions of hygiene kits in the village of Kalafsagalu and Adali by the ADIM associations with technical support and the financial institutions. As part of the project Water Hygiene and Sanitation, the Association ADIM, Association for the Integration and Development of Mabla, with the technical and financial support of UNICEF, realizes from 12 to 13 October 2018 that 3 activities in Tajora in the villages of Kalafsagalu and Adali, in which is the village men and women participate massively, accompanied by traditional chiefs and notables, who did not fail to question the president of the association, Mr. Ahmed Hassan Hamadou, on the problems related to hygiene, considering that the morbidity rate will drop significantly. The association ADIM and UNICEF target decisive changes in behavior. The program of these 2 days of work included the restitutions of the results of previous survey on the knowledge, attitude and practices of households and the project team water, hygiene and sanitation, the training of community relays and distributions of hygiene kits. For his part, in intervention, the president of the association team, Mr. Ahmed Hassan Hamadou, expressed his warmest thanks, first of all, to the beneficiaries of the activities and solicitations, which welcomes with a lot of interest this project before presenting this ins and outs of this program, which he specified could have been achieved with the support of the UNICEF and more particularly with the unreserved investment of its manager, whose human qualities and dedications in its actions undertaken to the benefit of the most vulnerable in the world and especially in our country. Finally, Mr. Ahmed Hassan Hamadou encouraged everyone to work in this dynamic of development that is useful to all. And now, concerning the international scene, Mohammed Dawish, kidnapped billionaire, home safely kidnapped Tanzanian billionaire Mohammed Dewi, has been released 10 days after he was seized by armed men in the city of Dar es Salaam. Listen to this report.
Kidnapped Tanzanian billionaire Mohammed Dewji has been released 10 days after he was seized by armed men in the city of Dar es Salaam. I have returned home safely, he said in a tweet from his company Metal Group's account. The businessman, known locally as Mo, thanked Tanzanians, police and everyone around the world for their prayers. It is not clear how Mr. Dewji 43 was freed or whether a ransom was paid. For these places, Mr. Dewji's net worth at around 1.5 pounds, which will make him Africa's youngest billionaire. The billionaire is reported to be in good health, but with bruises on his hands and legs due to handcuffing. Mr. Dewji served as an MP in Tanzania's ruling party for a decade until 2015. He is credited with turning his family business from a wholesale and retail enterprise into a pan-African conglomerate. His company Metal has interested in textile manufacturing, flour milling, beverage and edible oils in at least 6 African states.
Multiple explosions rocked police centers across Kabul on Saturday, causing dozens of casualties amid growing anger among voters as they waited hours to cast their ballot in long-delayed legislative elections. Listen to this report.
At least 13 people have been taken to a couple trauma hospital run by Italian NGO Emergency, including one child who died. The organization said on Twitter hours after the Taliban want voters to boycott the ballot to protect their lives. Afghan officials confirmed there have been a casualty but will not provide a number. An AFP correspondent saw voters fleeing a polling center in the north of Afghan capital following a blast that a witness say had caused a number of casualties. The violence has marked the shambolic preparation for the parliamentary election that is more than 3 years late, with hundreds killed or wounded. The latest bombing are likely to scare off voters, hurting turnout and the credibility of the election.
This is it for tonight news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.